Welcome back to FishLocked, my series where I play through World of Warcraft expansions in order, but I only do the fishing content. As always, make sure you've seen the previous episodes so you know where we're at, how we're doing it, the full rules of the challenge. And last time we went on quite the journey to acquire the legendary fishing rod, the Underlight Angler. Doing so, I had to fish up 18 different rare fish all over the continent, becoming a master angler here. But there was still so much more I needed to do here in Legion. This is our first multi-episode expansion, and we've got a lot of work to do. There's still more achievements, mounts, pets, toys, and I needed to get everything. This week there would be many hurdles and setbacks in the way, many L's that we had to take, but we will always find a way. And well, the worst setback of them all this week actually had nothing to do with the game itself.
So, yeah, this message is what I get every time I plug this in. This is the FishLocked hard drive that had everything on it, and the only thing that had everything on it, with no backups. I don't know what the problem was. I've used these same hard drives for many years. I've had like 5 different of these, never had a single problem. But of course, this one breaks.
So, yeah, my hard drive broke with all the fishing series up until this point. So a lot of the footage that was supposed to be used in this episode is now missing. All my cinematic shots that I spent hours making, that I used in last episodes, that I plan to reuse, are now gone. And to be honest, we got extremely lucky too that the last episode even exists, because, well, the hard drive broke like a couple hours the same day as the last episode came out, so it was almost lost completely. Like, it would have been like the missing SpongeBob episode. Now, I have looked into data recovery, but that does take a little bit of time to happen, and well, I still gotta make sure new episodes are coming out every week. Cause sure, I could sit around depressed until data recovery gets the stuff back, but that's not how winning's done. We're clocking overtime, baby. I'll just film more for this episode. We'll film some fake footage to put over the parts that we lost the footage of. Some of y'all even said you were fine with seeing some MS Paint over my commentary, so whatever we gotta do, we're gonna make it work, cause we gotta make this happen. And I do have some Twitch VODs of some of the footage that was lost, which normally I like to record separately without the stream overlays and stuff, but hey, sometimes we gotta make do. And the first thing I wanted to get done next was the Dalaran Fountain. If you remember earlier in the series, we fished in the Northrend Dalaran Fountain for a bunch of coins that gave achievements for collecting them all. Now with here in Dalaran and the Broken Isles, guess what? We have a new achievement with all new coins to catch. This time it was only 1 achievement instead of 3, but there was a lot of coins to get with this one too. And I remember seeing comments making it seem like this grind would be a nightmare and it would take very, very long, but actually it wasn't so bad. Our friend Marcia Chase over here, or maybe it's Marcia Chase, the comments are still very angry about me saying words wrong, but she sells bait for these coins because, well, that makes sense. Bait definitely helps you catch coins, but I just bought all of them and used them while fishing. I did this a couple times where I would just buy all of them once, use them all, and then go back. I did this a few times, and then there was only a few more coins I needed left, so I went in the Wowhead comments and looked up which baits were the best for each specific one I had left, and altogether this maybe only took like 3 hours to get all of the achievements. The one in Northrend was way worse. It's not even a close debate for me. And we got the Wish Remover achievement, and now we could move on to the next achievement. The next achievement was going to be fishing around the Isles. For this, I would need to complete 20 different world quests, and because these are on different daily resets, the sooner we start this, the better and quicker we can get it done. There was a pretty big problem though. Like in the previous episode, I haven't done any Legion content on this account before, so there's nothing that was unlocked, and this included world quests in general. Now, I did have a quest that would unlock world quests here in Legion, Uniting the Isles, where I would need to get all major factions in the Broken Isles up to friendly reputation. And well, this isn't fishing content, so I really didn't want to do this. And it didn't seem like fun either. But it's getting in the way of fishing content, so I have to do what I have to do. Plan was to start in Azuna and do the same route that we did last time while fishing up the rare fish. So I started by just doing some random quests, but I realized they weren't giving any reputation, and I assumed that this was probably because they were side quests, and it looks like it wasn't working out, so I decided to go for the main story campaign, which I also really didn't want to do because I had to start the class campaign to do this, and I even had to get one of the artifact weapons, but trust me, I'm never using this thing. I'm gonna throw it in the trash because I don't care about the lore behind this. I'm here to fish. I need a fishing class order hall actually now that we're at it. But after getting to my class order hall, I was able to get to the scouting map and pick a zone. I picked Azuna, and doing this put all the main story quests up in all zones. So I did go over to Azuna to start with the Court of Ferondus reputation, did a bunch of quests to get it up to friendly, and then we moved into Val Shara. I did quests here to get the Dreamweavers up to friendly reputation, and after this we headed to High Mountain to get friendly reputation with the High Mountain tribe. This one even had a cool quest where we were kicking fish back into a river, kind of felt like a fishing quest. Then I moved into Stormheim, did a bunch of quests there to get the Valajar up to friendly, and finally moved into Suramar, where after a bunch of quests I got the Nightfallen up to friendly. Wait, how long have I had this thing that gives me 2,000 rep? Alright, we're done. I'm gonna use the bathroom while I think about my life after that. Now I know this was like a really quick segment to talk about in this video, but this took 4.5 hours, by the way. Like, this took half of the amount of time it took to fish up half of the rare fish in the last episode. But I turned in Uniting the Isles, and world quests were now unlocked. But of course, with my luck, there was no fishing world quests up right now. But that's fine, there was still plenty we needed to do, and well, you know, we could just keep checking every so often to see if new world quests popped up. The next achievement I wanted to work towards was Fisher Friend of the Isles. In this achievement, I needed to reach best friend reputation with all the fishing masters in the Broken Isles. I thought, why not start off where I already know, the little island next to Dalaran, Margos' retreat. We spent some time here last episode to get some lures, but now we're back to get the full reputation and all the rewards. This includes a mount, 2 pets, and 2 fishing bobbers. So it's time to start fishing here for some more drowned mana. This grind was actually pretty tough. It was pretty boring. From YouTube videos and other things, I found out back in Legion that this would actually be so much faster, because back then people would do this in full 40-man raid groups, and with so many people, they would get the water elemental to spawn constantly, pretty much giving 100% uptime on the buff to catch drowned mana 100% of the time. But I was pretty much solo. Some days I got 1 or 2 people to join in, but most of this grind I spent alone. And it actually took me a couple days of doing this by doing just a couple hours each day, but eventually I got it. It took 835 drowned mana to get all the way up to best friend status. The mount after this was another 100 drowned mana. The pets were 50 each, and the bobbers were 100 each as well, bringing the total up to 1,235 drowned mana to get everything. And keep in mind, these are not 100% drop chance unless you kill the water elemental. I caught a couple thousand other fish along the way. But I do love these rewards, and I don't really think I'll be using the mount that much, but I love this raccoon pet, and I love both the bobbers. That would be 1 friendship reputation maxed out and dealt with. At least that's what I thought. Because when I checked the achievement, I realized something. Conjurer Margos wasn't even one of the fishing masters needed for this achievement. I just keep taking L's this episode, huh? I mean, I was gonna do it anyway for the pets and the mount, but, you know, I wish I knew. And I started doing some research on how to actually do this achievement, and well, after looking into it, I wish I had started doing this way sooner. So even though there were 6 of these master fishermen, only 1 of them appeared each day. Luckily, Wowhead will tell you right on the main page each day who's gonna be the one that's up today. And on our first day here, we have Elysia of the Waters. Probably said that wrong, but these reputations pretty much work the same way as Conjurer Margos. You go to their little pond, they have a specific item that they want you to catch up, you turn it in for reputation, and then you can turn in some more for some rewards. Elysia of the Waters here was in Azuna and had this nice little pond, and for her I'd be catching these fragmented enchantments, and also similar to the water elemental on Margos, if I caught this Hate Coil Spearhead, it would spawn this Naga, who after you killed him, you would get 100% drop chance on fragmented enchantments. And this would actually go a bit faster than Conjurer Margos, because you would get more than just 1 at a time when these would drop too. You could get up to like 4 at a time. And I also had a couple viewers from my stream come in, and they helped things go by a bit faster too. We got best friend status, we got this ghost shark pet, and we got another new bobber. That makes 1 master fish friend out of 6, but we'd have to wait until tomorrow for a different master fisher to appear. For now though, it was time for another weekly Stranglethorn fishing extravaganza. At least that's what I thought, because we ported at Booty Bay, and well, there was a problem.
Well, that's it for this week, folks. Fishing
What?
contest over.
Wait, what? What do you mean fishing contest over? Huh? It doesn't even start for 10 minutes. How are you an undead on the Alliance?
Well, that's it for this week, folks. Fishing
Wait.
contest over.
Wait, he just turned in. Yep. Daylight savings times hit on the same day as this, and the WoW clock changed back, but the timers on different things didn't change with it, so the derby started an hour before 2 o'clock. It started at 1 o'clock server time, and we completely missed it. I didn't actually need to do it though, so I wasn't really upset. I just wanted to see how many people were out, you know, is the fishing community thriving or not? I also got invited to a guild that another person doing a fishing challenge was hosting, and I did think at some point of making my own guild, but I don't really care to deal with guild leadership responsibilities, so if you want to join a community of people fishing, thrills and gills on Wormrust Accord. Back to the Broken Isles though, and we finally had 2 fishing world quests, one up in Stormheim and another in Val'sharah. Starting up in Stormheim, I needed to catch 10 lively storm rays from these little pools, and each pool only dropped 1 and then disappeared, so it was a little annoying. But then when we got over to Val'sharah, we had to catch 10 huge mossgill perch, but they were all in one giant pool that we could catch all 10 inside of. Now for this world quest and Fish Friends achievement, I was pretty much in a waiting game of daily resets and world timers on for world quests, but other than that, there is one more thing we could go after in Legion fishing, and it's pretty ugly. I don't think I'll ever use it, but I have to get it. The Pond Nettle mount. This mount can be caught in a single little pond in Argus, so it was time to leave Azeroth once again. The Argus teleporter worked right away, but I couldn't actually get off the Vindicar, which was the spaceship. So once again, I would have to do another intro quest line, because it was getting in the way of me fishing. Once again, this sucked. I didn't want to do it, but it had to be done. I had to do like all the quests in the first zone here to unlock the second zone where we needed to go, the Antoran Wastes. And as soon as we got here, I abandoned the quest. I don't care. As soon as I would be able to get to this little pond, and now we could try to catch the pond nettle. But this thing was very rare, and according to the comments, it was like super rare. There was this guy saying it took him over 20,000 casts to get it. Hopefully it doesn't take me that long, but I will do what it takes for the FishLocked challenge. I fished here for the rest of the night, but I had no luck on the mount. And the next day, it was time for another fish friend. And today was Keeper Renee, something like that, in Val'sharah. For her, we collected corrupted globules, and catching a disgusting ooze would spawn a giant slime, which would buff the pond for guaranteed corrupted globules. I got her up to best friend status, and I was hoping for one more bonus bar for girlfriend reputation, but unfortunately no such thing exists. For her rewards though, we got another bobber and a cooking recipe to make Legion feasts. And the rest of the day, well, I spent back up in Argus again trying to get the pond nettle. Once again, no luck on this mount. The next morning, I was ready to go right for the next fish friend, but here we were again, waiting 8 hours of maintenance. What is this even for? Is this for Legion Remix? You're telling me we need 8 hours of maintenance for content that already came out before, like almost 10 years ago? What are we doing? Like this was cutting into all my fishing time for the day. What do you expect me to do? Fish in a different video game?
So we got Jack and Daxter, PS2, classic, banger. We're gonna fish in this game instead. Alright, come on. Come on, here we go. That's easy. Oh shit, now it's going faster. Hold up. I got this. This might be better than WoW fishing. I'm saying that like I haven't done this before. I played this game so many times as a kid, and as an adult. But let me play my old games. I remember this being a lot harder when I was a kid. Oh, we did it. Unfortunately though, you can't do it more than once in this game, which is kind of sucks. It would have made this game a lot better if they just, if you could just keep replaying the game mode even after you did it, but whatever. I think the servers might be back up.
Eventually the servers came up, and I went to High Mountain for today's fishing friend, a cool river horn. For him, we turned in ancient totem fragments all the way up to best friend reputation, and catching a water totem figurine, you'd kill a Tauren ghost that spawned, and then these 2 giant totems would appear on the boat, and as long as they were up, you would get guaranteed bunch of ancient totem fragments. For the rewards, well, we got another bobber, and we got the trawler totem toy, which would place down this nice little totem, giving +4 fishing skill to everybody around it. I actually really like this toy. I've been wondering how to get it, and now I have it. This night, there was also another fishing world quest in Stormheim to catch 10 huge storm rays, and this could all be caught in the same giant pool. After this, we headed back for another night of fishing on Argus, but once again, no luck on the pond nettle. The morning hit again the next day, and it was time for the next fish friend. But first, I headed to Old Man Barlow, because he had the Crocolisk in the city quest. I went to Orgrimmar, fished up the baby Crocolisk, headed back to Old Man Barlow to get his bag, and when I opened it up, we got Chuck. Muckbreath finally had a brother, and we were now 2 out of 4 on these Crocolisk pets from this quest. Heading back to the Broken Isles, though, the fish friend of the day was Corbin. Corbin is this crow over in Stormheim. I had no idea birds could be master fishers, but here we are. For Corbin, we needed to fish up shiny baubles, and catching and using a white shiny bauble would spawn a Vrykul. Killing the Vrykul would sparkle up the water, and tons of these crows would fly down to catch too, because now you could catch tons of shiny baubles. I got Corbin here up to best friend status and bought all the rewards off his shop once again, which would be another new bobber, and he had a toy called Corbin's Beacon, which you could use on another player, and Corbin would spawn and come sniff them out for shiny baubles. He really likes those things. And this day there was another 2 world quests over in Azuna, so we headed there, first catching 10 huge cursed queenfish from one giant pool, and then another 10 from another giant pool. And this Vrykul dude, he really didn't want me on his little island. And after these world quests are done, I'm sure you already know what we did. We headed back to Argus for the pond nettle, and guess what? I still didn't get the mount this day. But the next morning, I went right for another new fish friend. Today being Shaleth in Suramar. And this one was actually a bit different from the others because you couldn't just sit here fishing in the same spot. The fish in this pond that you needed, the gold minnow, are caught from this big pool that is constantly moving, and it moves pretty quick. You pretty much need to move every single cast to keep up. Sometimes you can get 2 casts in it before you need to move, but it's non-stop movement. I couldn't really AFK fish on this one like I did the others, but catching a glowing fish scale and throwing it back in the water, this big purple elemental would spawn out, and when you killed him, he would drop a bunch of gold minnows. It wasn't a buff this time, he just dropped a bunch of them. This one was definitely not AFK friendly, but in return, it seemed a bit quicker than the others, and I got up to best friend status, and on the shop, the only thing that there was this little bobber boat. And I bet you'll never guess what we did next. That's right, we were back to Argus for another night of trying to get this pond nettle. And I'm starting to lose sanity on if this thing even exists. I'm only spending a couple hours a night, but like, come on, I'm losing it. I want this mount so I can move on. We still got one more fish friend to get, but I want this mount. After another disappointing night of no mount, I headed back to the Broken Isles in the morning for the final fish friend. There ended up being no repeat days, so it worked out perfectly. So I went over to Impus, who was in the Broken Shore, and this is a giant imp that walks around the shore. And for this guy, I needed to catch a bunch of desecrated seaweeds. And this one, honestly, it felt so slow. Maybe it was because the one the day before was like way faster, or maybe it was just because it was the final day. The final stretch always feels the longest. But I got it done. Getting best friend reputation gave me the achievement Fisher Friend of the Isles, but I stayed a little bit longer because I needed 150 more seaweed for his reward shop as well, getting another bobber and this desecrated seaweed shirt, which had nothing special about it. It was just an ugly shirt. Going back to Dalaran after this, I had mail from Conjurer Margos. He said this thing was a worthless piece of junk that he fished up and that I could have it. The Underlight Emerald, and using this would unlock different color appearances for my Underlight Angler fishing rod. So I went over to look at them, put them on. I really liked the green one, but whenever you close the menu, it doesn't actually work. So Thanks, Blizzard. I went back to Argus to fish for the pond nettle, and I was gonna stay here until the next episode. My plan is to fish here on the side monitor the whole time I work on editing this episode, and well, I'll let you guys know at the end how it went. But for now, I am ready to move on from Legion in the next episode, but I can still end my nights by fishing in Argus until I get this mount. But other than that, there's only like World Quest achievement left to get here, and I'm only 4 out of 20 of the quests so far after a week, so I'm not just gonna soft lock myself to Argus fishing and waiting for World Quest to pop up for the next month. So next episode, we move our adventure into the Battle for Azeroth expansion, and I know there's a lot to do there as well, so be ready for it. I'm gonna be streaming the start of it. Go follow me and subscribe if you're not here. When it comes to my favorite fishing spot in Legion zones, there were so many good ones, but I still have to go with Margos' Retreat. I love it here. It's like a mini King Kai planet, which is like my favorite fictional place ever. Let me know your favorite spots here in Legion down below in the comments, or just whatever adventures you've been up to in general. Anyway, friends, I'll see you guys in my next episode. Keep fishing.
Boom, I just finished the FishLocked episode. We're here on Argus, and whoa, what's that? Oh shit! Yo, we gotta learn it. Oh. Wait, I'm not in water. There's no water here for me. Can I jump in the acid and use it? Ow, I'm gonna die. Wait, let me mount up. Where? Oh, okay, well, that, see you next episode.